already have PlayStation 5 emulation where we're able to boot PS5 games on the PC. And over the past few weeks, we've had some pretty major advancements. We have 2 active emulators right now, Sharp EMU and Cat-Eye PS5 or KT PS5. With Sharp EMU having 2 games considered working and Cat-Eye PS5 with 20 plus games working. Now, when they say working, that means the game is loadable in some capacity. It does not mean there are any playable games yet. None of the games are considered playable, but there are many 2D games that you can at least actually run to the point of getting in-game, which is pretty awesome, especially considering the fact that the PS5 is still current gen and we're already able to boot some PlayStation 5 games on the PC. So we're going to be checking that out here in this video. So first of all, we've got Sharp EMU, as you can see here. These emulators are very active at the moment. We can see just 6 hours ago, we have new builds of Sharp EMU, as well as with Cat-Eye PS5 or Cat-Eye PS5. We can see work in progress version 0.0.3 was just released a few hours ago. So that's the one I'm going to check here in this video because it currently seems to support more games that are actually bootable with this emulator so far. But obviously that could change. So we can go ahead and download the zip file here for the emulator. Currently only works on Windows, although Linux is planned for these emulators as well, but at the moment it is Windows only. And then we can also go ahead and download this compatibility database, which gives you an idea of what games have been tested and how far along they are, if they can boot all the way in game, or if they can only boot into the menu, or if they can just boot the loading screen and that's it. So that is the information that's provided in the compatibility database. So what we can do is if we open up the compatibility database here on my computer, we can see all of the different games. So we can see here, this one boots into the main menu. This one is unknown, so it probably doesn't load at all. And then this one is in-game, so it boots all the way in-game. And you can basically copy the title ID of the game to figure out what the game is, and then go to prosperopatches.com, paste in the ID, and it will give you the name of that game so you know what game that refers to. So this game actually boots in-game. So with the emulator extracted here to my desktop, I'm going to go ahead and run the launcher. I'll run this as administrator just to be sure that it actually loads everything properly. So it says game folders, add at least 1 game folder in the global settings. So we'll click OK. And then we've got game folders here and we can open our game directory. Now I do have my PS5 game folder here with all of my PlayStation 5 game backups. Of course, if you have a jailbroken PS5, you can make your own backups of your PS5 games that you can try and load within the emulator. So for instance, on the PS5, you just run the app dumper payload on your jailbroken PS5 and then load whatever game you want to dump with a large USB drive connected to the console, and it will dump the game and decrypt the executables to that USB drive, and then you'll have a game folder with all of the extracted game files inside, including the decrypted executables like we have here. If I open this one up for Alex Kidd in Miracle World, you have all of the dumped files just inside a folder, and that's the format that you want your games on to be able to try and load them within the emulator. So I can provide this location with all of my game backups to the emulator if we click down here to open game folder, and then I'll navigate to that directory here on my computer and add it. And we've got screen resolution. I'll leave that on 720p. You can do 1080 as well. We'll leave the V-blank frequency at 60. I'll just leave all defaults for now. You can customize a few different settings, shader validation and Vulkan validation. You can enable and disable those options, as well as changing the logging. And I'll just leave the shader optimization on performance. And we'll go ahead and hit save. And here we have our game list displayed. And the recent update now adds firmware version. This was not shown on the previous version. So it seems that would just be the minimum compatible PS5 firmware version needed for that game to run. And then also we have the status, which uses the compatibility list to check the status of each game. So we can see these ones boot in-game, and then we have ones that are unknown that are probably not going to load, and then other ones that will boot into the main menu. So the games that work right now are 2D games, 3D games. Some of them boot into the main menu, but they will not go in-game. So that is where we are at the moment with this emulator. So I have a controller plugged in to my PC. So we'll go ahead and run Alex Kidd in Miracle World here. I can just double click it and it will start loading. So the game loads up, no problem here. The audio is a little bit crackly. It does feel a little bit slow as well, but the game does load. Now, This emulator specifically is targeting NVIDIA GPUs primarily. So if you are on an AMD GPU or an Intel GPU, then you might have more significant issues running the game. Obviously, that will change as compatibility improves. But anyway, as you can see, we're booted here into the main menu. I can create a new game and it actually boots into the game and is somewhat playable here. However, none of the games in the compatibility list are considered playable for now, just in-game, as there may be graphical bugs, parts of the game might not function correctly, or could randomly crash. And in this case, the more I play, the more input lag and frame rate reduction starts to take hold. But it's truly incredible that PS5 emulation is already this far along, given that the PS5 is still the current gen, and it's only been a few years since PS4 emulation was at this level. And look how far PS4 emulation has come. The progress has been immense with PS4 over the past year. With emulators like Shad PS4, you can kind of see the trajectory of where this could be within a similar time frame, maybe even a shorter time frame than what it took to get PS4 emulation to where it is now. And even with this game, I've been able to actually play it through to the end of this level without it crashing and have it load the next level. I just haven't tried to go any further. So yeah, it is very impressive stuff. Maybe we'll go ahead and try and load a few games that are not compatible right now. So let's try and load a different game. So supposedly, we have Minecraft Legends should be able to get into the main menu. So this is a 3D game. So of course, 3D games are not really supported yet, but this is actually able to get into the main menu, supposedly. Okay, apparently not for me, though. Access violation. So that failed. What about GTA 5? GTA 5 supposedly is able to get into the logo. Oh, yep, we actually get the Rockstar. We actually get the Rockstar intro animation. Wasn't expecting it to go that far. Oh, and there we go. There's the crash. Unbased flat address. Requires runtime guest address translation. So, wow. Surprising I actually managed to get that far with Grand Theft Auto 5. What if I try Resident Evil Requiem? This one is unknown. This one's probably not going to get anywhere near. Yep, that one doesn't even boot. Just immediate access violation. Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart. Same thing. Doesn't go any further. But of course, there are other games that boot in-game, like Evergate. 20 plus games right now that are able to actually boot into the game and can be played to some degree. I was actually able to complete a full level there of Alex Kidd in Miracle World, so that one actually worked, but obviously it was a little bit laggy. The audio was a bit crackly, but overall, pretty damn impressive that PS5 emulation has come this far so quickly. So yeah, anyway, just wanted to kind of show that off here in this video. So I'm wondering if a lot of these developments have come off the back of some of PlayStation's announcements recently, some of the PlayStation blunders we've been talking about, like in the past news update video regarding all of the problems with physical games being discontinued, the PS3 and Vita stores being shut down, and you know, them removing content that people purchased in the form of movies, and various other blunders that PlayStation's been making recently. So it wouldn't surprise me if a lot of these emulator releases maybe were pushed forward a little bit to kind of stick it to Sony in some shape or form. But anyway, just wanted to show you guys the progress that's been made so far with PS5 emulation. So hope you guys enjoyed this video or found the information useful. If you did, please leave a like and subscribe. And as always, I will hopefully see you guys in the next one.